Good morning, everyone. Happy Imbolc, or happy Groundhog's Day. I thought I would do a little video of what's growing in my garden this winter. Since it is Imbolc, midwinter, also for some considered the start of spring, the start of the growth cycle, associated often with the maiden of the triple goddess. So this is my orange tree. The orange tree is, as you can see, in full fruit right now. It's a huge orange tree, and citrus are considered a winter fruit. It's got my orange tree growing there. And then we have the lemon tree, full of fruit as well. And here we have some fennel growing. This is a volunteer plant, which means it just popped up on its own. I've never grown fennel here, but there is some fennel growing in the neighborhood, and so I'm guessing the dogs brought some of the seeds in and they landed here. This is my beautiful giant sage bush. So I have lots of sage. I've made bundles from this bush. And this is my monstrous rosemary. So sage and rosemary are great herbs to have around for medicinal purposes, though rosemary is poisonous in high quantities, so don't just put it in everything. As well as for cleansing and purifying and exorcising your space. And here's my rue. Rue is great for spiritual purposes. I have some carrots that I left over at a monstrous carrot harvest last summer. I just left some in the ground. They will spread and propagate. And here, these are potatoes. Got some potatoes growing here. And then past the rose bush. This is what has become quite a large lemon balm plant. I love lemon balm. It's a very relaxing herb, good for calming the mind. So I have two compost bins that I put all our food scraps in. And the dirt you see there, if you're wondering what all that is, it's from these swallows' nests. I don't know, will that focus? It's a little dark up there. There's 10 swallows' nests up there that the swallows built last spring. They're empty right now, but I decided to leave them. I am planning on moving the bins though, so they don't poop on it. Usually it's covered in poop, but it's been cleaned off. So my compost bins, they are just two garbage bins that my husband drilled a whole bunch of holes in. I have not added worms or worm castings at all, but it is full of earthworms and flies. I was going to open it up, but the flies will fly out. Maybe I'll just try to jimmy it open so you can see some of the worms there. I mean, the worms are everywhere. You can see them wiggling. Okay. And now we're in the front yard. So this beautiful blossoming tree is my very old pear tree. It only produces super tiny fruit, so it's not fruiting anymore. She's very old. She's kind of a protector of the garden. And you can see right there where a branch fell down. I'll walk over to that. And I say she sacrificed a limb. It was a huge limb. This is part of it. My husband has cut it up quite a bit. You can see all of that. And there's more bits of it back there. But this huge limb, we were thinking of trimming it back anyway because it was shading the vegetable garden too much, which is right here. But it fell down on its own, safely, gently. I just heard a little, a sound that sounded like the dog lying down against the wall, but I was like, that was outside, and I came out, and it was covering the veggie garden. So the veggie garden is a bit of a disaster right now, but in spite of that, I still have some lingering tomatoes growing. There's some cabbage there. Of course, it's covered in leaves now too. But I want to show you this because stuff will keep growing. There's some dandelions, and I will harvest those They're great greens and great for cleansing out your system, for detoxifying. And then of course all my, I call these my kale trees. Of course kale doesn't really grow in trees, but you know, you harvest the lower leaves and the kale keeps growing, and greens are actually a winter crop, or lots of salad greens are winter greens, so they grow well in winter. Of course, I'm in Central California, so it doesn't get that cold. Looks like I have some chard growing here still. So lots of things are going to start coming up through these leaves, and I'm leaving the leaves as a layer, and I'll mix in the compost with it. So this is my basil that was completely crushed when the tree limb came down, so it has survived. Some of it hasn't, some over there hasn't. More kale. This is broccoli. It may still, it's purple broccoli. It may still produce some broccoli heads. But we have my herbs growing down here. We have mint, and what is that? It's not there. My marshmallow is gone. I did harvest it and made marshmallows out of it. But we have mint and wormwood. There's some more wormwood in the garden still. And I do often let things just fall into the garden. So I like to have surprise things growing. So we'll see what comes up. But it's February now. It's Imbolc. It's time to start prepping for spring, for the growing season, even though some things are growing. So I'm going to be working in the garden this month, adding in the compost, cleaning things up, doing some weeding, and get my seeds started. So thanks for joining me. Happy Imbolc, everyone.